Welcome and/or welcome back to the channel. My name is Sarah. I am wearing a microphone, so we are both hoping that you can hear me. We're going to talk about some of the books that I plan to read in September. I'm going on vacation in September for about a week, which means I'm either going to get a ton of stuff read or I'm going to get almost nothing read. The week before is going to be getting ready. We'll be there for a week. We're going to a beach. And then the week after, 2 weeks after, honestly, frankly, with a 4-year-old, is just going to be getting back to normal life. So we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed. I am also horribly, terribly behind on every ebook, like NetGalley that I have on almost everything. Everything on this list, except for two, are NetGalley arcs. That doesn't mean it's going to be the only thing I read. I also have a few pre-orders coming out next month that I'm going to try to read as soon as I get them, and I have some like physical books that I'm going to read. I can think of at least 2 that I may be taking with me to the beach. We'll see what happens. So I'm going to quickly go through these. I don't remember the summary on all of them because past Sarah is very good at picking out current Sarah's reads, so we trust them. We trust the process. So the top of the list is, and I'm going off of my notebook, so if I'm looking down, it's to look into my reading journal here. The top is Blood of the Old Kings. I will put the cover here because I cannot remember the author's name. Do not remember the summary on this one, but I can tell you that I have had this arc for a while now, and I was looking at books, like upcoming releases, maybe a week or 2 ago, and I saw this one described. I was like, dang, that sounds super good. Maybe I can get that on NetGalley. And I went to dig it up, and I found it on NetGalley, and it was on my shelf, and I totally forgot I had it. So I clearly am excited about this one. Can't tell you what it's about, but it's going to be read next month. I also have The Stone Witch of Florence, which is a romantasy from Harlequin Books. I am also unclear of what this one is about, but I think this is a historical romantasy. So I will hopefully get to that one, and it'll read pretty quickly. I sampled it. I read the first couple pages when I got it, and I was super excited to try it out because I thought it read really well, and the premise was interesting. The next one I have listed is Last Dragon of the East. Again, I'm not giving summaries on these, y'all. I'm sorry. Some of them I might, but most of them I'm not. I will put links to all of them down below though, so if the covers look interesting to you, please click the links down below and you can check the summaries out. The next is City of Glass by Nevo. I can also tell you that I did not look at the summary on this one, so I have not at every point had any idea what this is about. The only reason I requested it on there is because it's Nevo, and I have read almost everything that Nevo has written. I love their work. Saw a new one, said yes please, thank you. I did not read the books. I think there are 2 of them that are about like Hollywood fame, maybe, even though it was, I think 2 of them were both historical. I didn't read those because I really have absolutely no interest in that kind of an era or topic, but this one definitely is fantasy from what I do recall, so I am excited to get to it. I love their fantasy works. The Singing Hill Cycle is one of my favorite series. I have Sargassa. Now this one I do remember a little bit. It is a historical fantasy. I think it's an alternate history historical fantasy in which the Roman kingdom is like, it has continued and is now like the ruling power, or a Roman kingdom adjacent kingdom. How many times can I say kingdom? A Roman adjacent or similar world with the fantasy setting. I can't words today, man. Wow, what's going on? Dungeon Crawler Carl book. What is that? 3? This is the Anarchist Cookbook. I read the first 2 books last month, in August, and I love these books. I absolutely adore Dungeon Crawler Carl. I will probably never ever shut up about it, so apologies ahead of time. It's fantastic. It's hysterical and fantastic. I highly recommend it. This is the 3rd book. Carl is on to the next floor after the insanity of the last floor. The summary on this series, which I can give very briefly, is that Carl is chasing down his ex-girlfriend's prize-winning cat out of his apartment when everything in the world is leveled. those that are left standing, anyone who is not in a building or a structure, are given the choice of remaining on the surface of Earth and dying, and I think it was a couple of hours, or going down into the dungeon below and competing in the dungeon crawl with the long-term goal of reaching, I think it's the 18th floor, and winning, getting Earth back. Now, the trick is, this has been going on for as long as anyone seems to talk about it, for forever. The different alien races have been doing this to different worlds, and that's just how it is, and no one has ever reached the 18th floor. You survive by getting far enough to get a sponsorship or a deal, or you die. And Carl is trapped in the dungeon with Donut, the prize-winning cat. She is my princess, Princess Donut. I worship at her feet. And I cannot recommend this series enough. Like I said, hysterical. It's lit RPG, so we have the aspect of sort of like a video game. There are achievements, there are level ups, they get loot boxes, things like that. It's very well incorporated. Matt Dittman does a fantastic job balancing humor and seriousness, though. We get a lot of reflection on the fact that, you know, these are the remaining survivors of Earth, and they're being forced to compete in this like bloodthirsty, terrible competition. And Carl has feelings about that. And it's not good. So yes, love the series. This isn't a review, Sarah, stop it. So do recommend. These are currently coming out in hardback. The first one is out now, but you can get them on audio and ebook, and I highly recommend the audio. The amazing Jeff Hayes narrates it, and he has an incredible range. Moving on. In the Shadow of the Ship, this is an Aliette de Bodard book, and this is part of her long-running science fiction novella series. I really enjoy all of these. I don't typically look at the summary on these either. I've read almost all of them. They usually have to do with some sort of mystery in space, talking ships, psychics, things like that. This looks to be no different, and I will pick it up. I also have another indie turned traditional publish. Excuse me. I just hit my microphone. Blood Over Bright Haven by M.L. Wong. This is a school story, I believe, if I'm right. A young woman is admitted to a school, and I don't believe that's very normal in this world. She is kind of the outlier, and it is the story of her going to the school. I think the magic system is alchemy based, but I could very much be wrong. I have the Seventh Sword novella by Anthony Ryan, and that's Road of Storms. Yeah, the Road of Storms. I keep saying the Road of Sorrows, which is not correct because the last book was Across the Sorrow Sea. So I'm getting my titles mixed up. Road of Storms, 6th book in a series. Can't give you a whole lot of details on what this one's about, but the series itself is about a man who carries a demon-cursed blade. The demon inside the sword talks to him. They are bound together. They cannot be separated. And he comes to find out there's not just one sword, there are 7, and they are slowly collecting the swords in an attempt to break the curse, free the demons, put them back into hell, and destroy these swords, because they're not good swords, they're definitely bad swords. And I actually have 2 Anthony Ryans on this TBR. The second is A Tide of Black Steel, and that is the first book in his new Viking-inspired fantasy series. I'm going to eat it up. I absolutely love Anthony Ryan. He is one of my favorite authors. I don't know anything besides Viking-inspired fantasy and Anthony Ryan. I immediately requested it, and I am going to read it. I will add right here that I plan on taking the 3rd Covenant of Steel book to the beach with me in September. So I will likely, hopefully, fingers crossed, read 3 books, 3 Anthony Ryan books. Wow. In September. It's going to be the month of Anthony Ryan, from all accounts. I have had that book on my TBR for ages, and I keep waffling. I keep being like, oh no, I don't want it to be over. Anyway. Adrian Tchaikovsky's Alien Clay is on here. That's another author I really like. I didn't look at the summary. I have a bad habit of this. I think this is a first contact, and there is something to do with plants, which is a trope I absolutely love, and I don't see it often. A very good example of this is Symbiosis by, what is her name? Oh, she's right there. Hold on. Sue Burke. That's it. I remembered. Symbiosis by Sue Burke. If you have not read that, I strongly recommend it. I was emailed by somebody at Orbit about The Night Strider. It has a very cool cover. I believe this was indie turned traditional published. I'm going to give it a shot because, again, I like the cover. I like the look of it. I just lost my needle. Oh, no, I didn't. I found it. So we'll give it a shot. I'm always down to try something directly when people email me directly. So, okay, let's go. I have Wicked Serve by Grace Riley. Is that who it is? I can't see very well. It's a tiny little picture on a chart. It is a hockey romance. This is a very fantasy heavy TBR, so I did try to put one or two not fantasy things on here. I didn't really succeed very good. Lucy Undying by Kristen White. I totally expect to read this in almost a sitting. I eat her books up. They read so quickly. The last one I read from her was the Frankenstein retelling, and I really, really loved that. I thought it was fantastic. It was very short, so I'm wondering how long this one is going to be. This is a Dracula retelling, but this is about Lucy, the woman in Dracula he is quite obsessed with and everyone's trying to save. We'll see how it goes. The last two are not arcs. They are actual books that I have been reading. One of them, The Lady of Embers by Melissa K. Rourke, is the fourth Lady of Darkness book. I am 25% of the way through the third one, and that book is putting me through it. I wish I could explain to you how much it hurts. I was listening to it on audio, and the first part of that book, it's not a fun time. It's not a happy-go-lucky time. It's bad time. Yeah, I couldn't listen to it, so I switched to the Kindle edition. I think because I had to flip forward to find out that it ended and it wasn't an entire book of bad times, I think things are going to turn around soon, and when it does, I'll be able to switch back to audio. Maybe not. I may just blaze through it on the Kindle. We'll see. But this is the fourth one, and I'm hoping it's not nearly as gut-wrenching as this one. We'll see. And the last book on this chart is The Ever King by L.J. Andrews. This is a book my husband picked out for me out of a list of romantasy. I said, I want you to pick another one because one he picked was fantastic, so I'm going to have him pick another one, and he picked The Ever King, so I'm going to read that. It's pirate romantasy, so it would actually be a good one to take to the beach, so I might do that. I didn't actually think about that till right at this moment. We'll see what happens. We'll see how I'm feeling. I wasn't planning on taking more than like one book, but I might take two. I actually also have another book from Saga Press upstairs. I could probably go get it or not, it's fine. I'll just put a picture. I think it's called Scorpia. I'll put the cover over here. It is a desert fantasy. I know that much. It's got some sort of a desert setting. I also may take that one to the beach. It depends on what I get read before we go. That is also going to get read next month. But that is it for my September TBR. Short, sweet, not a lot of synopses. Not really sorry, but again, they are all linked down below, so if the covers are interesting to you, look at them. If not, I will probably talk about them in some form, one way or the other, in an upcoming video, and if not, definitely on my Instagram, which is always linked down below. Thanks so much for watching, y'all. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day and week, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.